What can you expect from Leslie Iwerks' new documentary, Disneyland Handcrafted? This episode includes everything you need to know. Welcome aboard Imagination Skyway, your guided tour through the worlds of Disney and Imagineering. I'm your host, Matthew Kroll, and it's my job to explore the stories and places we love and the people who bring them to life. In an earlier episode, I shared an interview with Leslie Iwerks about her new documentary, Disneyland Handcrafted, all about the opening of Disneyland. When I recorded that conversation, I actually hadn't seen the film yet, because our interview was recorded before the film premiered. A few days later, I had the chance to attend the Disneyland Handcrafted premiere at the Walt Disney Studios Lot in Burbank, California, thanks to an invitation from Disney Parks, and the experience was too good not to share in a podcast episode. In this discussion, we'll share what you can expect from Disneyland Handcrafted without any major spoilers, and we'll discuss what we took away from the event itself. As you fasten your seatbelt, I encourage you to take out your mobile devices and search for Imagination Skyway on your favorite social media app. Better yet, if you're looking for ad-free episodes, bonus content, or the ability to comment directly on the podcast, head to patreon.com/imaginationskyway, where you can sign up for a free account or a premium subscription. And if this episode leaves you yearning for a trip to Disney or any other destination, reach out to our partners and sponsors at KMV Travel, voted the top travel agency in Orlando in 2025. To get started, visit kmvtravel.com/skyway. As we begin our journey, please remain seated, keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times, and enjoy your journey aboard Imagination Skyway. A few days ago, Mike and I had an incredible opportunity to attend the Disneyland Handcrafted premiere at the Walt Disney Studios Lot in Burbank, California. Mike, welcome back to the show, first of all.
Thank you.
You have been in so many episodes already in 2026, but it's because you were a major part of this Burbank trip, which we talked about extensively in our other podcast episode about the subject. So if you haven't listened to it, go and check it out. But I wanted to make sure that we had the chance to talk about the Disneyland Handcrafted premiere and the Disneyland Handcrafted documentary itself. We're not going to spoil anything for you, but as Mike and I were talking about before we started, it's a story I think a lot of you know anyway, so I'm not going to discuss some of the specific things that pop up, because I will say there's a lot that you will learn by watching the documentary, but spoiler alert, this is about the creation of Disneyland.
And also, spoiler alert, it was actually created. So
it was actually created, yeah. It's still there, so you can hop on a plane or drive or however you want to travel to get to Anaheim, California, and Disneyland is still there. But yeah, it was an incredible event and a fantastic documentary. So I want to talk a little bit about it. We're not going to belabor the subject. I just want to make sure that we cover enough to give you a feel for what the premiere was like and what you can expect from the documentary. And again, we will not be spoiling it for you beyond the basic history that you already know, or most of you should already know. So anyway, Mike, I'm going to just start with this overall question. How did you enjoy the premiere?
Oh, it was okay.
It was okay, right?
It's okay. It was truly remarkable. I will say this. It was one thing that was discussed with the interview with Leslie just before the screening, where they were joking about, can you imagine anything else where people be that interested in the construction of something, right? They actually referenced the Eiffel Tower, and they said, like, would people actually be, I mean, honestly, I would actually be interested in the construction of the Eiffel Tower, but to have this massive of a fan base be interested in the construction of something and to gather because they just wanted to see how it was created from start to finish. And I thought that kind of summed everything up. I mean, I was in awe from start to finish. And again, without spoiling anything, it was truly remarkable on what they were able to put together and how much we have not seen, because so much footage has been released over the years, but there was a lot in there that I've never seen before in my life. And that was truly amazing. I really did feel like that I was there when Disneyland was being built.
Yes, it was a story told so effectively, and it kept my interest and attention for the entire duration. And granted, of course, I'm a Disney fan, but I think even if you're not a Disney fan, you're going to feel the drama of this construction period. You're going to feel the anxiety that Walt felt. And these are things that I don't think come as a big surprise, that Disneyland was constructed in a year. And think about how that translates to today's construction. Now, there are so many other factors that are at play. It's not the lack of ability nowadays to build a theme park in a year, but it's the additional parameters around safety and around the standard operations. I don't work in construction, but I do know that there are so many there's a systematic approach to constructing things these days just to ensure that everything is up to code, in line. And that's not to say that Disneyland isn't, but just the times were very different back in 1954, 1955 than they are today. So the idea that it was constructed in a year in itself is incredible. The fact that there was so much on the line when Disneyland was built for the Walt Disney Company, for Walt Disney himself, and the fact that it was so groundbreaking. There's nothing that has been constructed like this. There was nothing constructed like this prior to Disneyland. And in my interview with Leslie about her documentary, in my interview, which is like not even a fraction of a percent of a mini documentary. When my interview with Leslie, she spoke about how much was on the line. She spoke about the anxiety that Walt had felt, and also the fact that there was nothing like this prior to Disneyland. So there was and the fact that I was going to say specifically the fact that everything was handcrafted, speaking to the title of the documentary. So everything was handcrafted. Everything was made from scratch. Everything was done on such a tight timeline in innovating the industry, delivering stories in a different way that have never been delivered before. And you felt all that drama in this documentary, which, by the way, is equivalent to like a feature-length Disney animated film in its length. It was almost an hour and a half, right around like the 80-minute mark, I think. Don't quote me because I was kind of judging by like, what time did we start? What time are we ending now? But it was roughly about an 80-minute runtime. We're close to an hour and a half.
The other thing, too, I really appreciated about this documentary is how unfiltered it was.
Yes.
They really showed a number of things, not only the stress, but what the conditions were that these workers endured while building Disneyland.
The goofs that happened along the way.
The goofs that happened along the way. But also that was the other fun thing, too, is that they were not only goofs that happened, but also goofing around, too.
Yes.
Which I also appreciate they kept that in to keep that human element of it. So I appreciate that was not extremely serious. They actually had those elements in there, those silly things, but also really about, I mean, you have to watch it to see, because I couldn't believe the things that these workers were doing and just nonchalantly scaling these walls and doing all these different types of things. It was truly
acrobatics.
It was acrobatics. Like, it was, for me, it was nerve-wracking watching them do these things. And it just gives you a whole nother level of appreciation about the level of work that was put into this park to make this whole thing happen.
Yeah, it built my appreciation for Disneyland, and it gave me a deeper insight into Walt than I had before, which is saying a lot. I've read about Walt. I've seen countless documentaries about Walt, but when you double tap on Disneyland and you look at it's about the start of his last decade working at the company, it was the last decade of life, and you get a sense of how much he's willing to gamble and risk for his ideas, how much his brother Roy is willing to support that financially, and how much Walt puts himself, his family, his company on the line to make these dreams come true. There are some really great quotes in there as well. And I love the fact that, hopefully this is not too big of a spoiler, but this is not narrated by a narrator. Like the Imagineering story, Angela Bassett is the narrator of the Imagineering story. There is no narrator, but there is still plenty of context and sound bites to make it feel as if it's narrated, which is an incredible achievement.
Yeah, there's no cuts to interviews. The whole thing is archival footage from start to finish.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about the archival footage because I didn't realize this, and I wish I would have known on the day I interviewed Leslie, but she called this out moments before we watched the documentary. That's the footage that she captured, or I should say that she collected, that was captured, which was over 100 hours of raw footage, was all silent. And spoiler alert, we're not watching a silent film, right? We're watching footage with, if you didn't know, you would have no idea that this was originally silent footage. But you're looking at a construction zone and you're hearing sounds of a construction zone that are perfectly timed with the happenings on the screen. And that's because Leslie's company worked with Skywalker Sound, which created this full sound profile for the film. And I'll say the only thing that is original audio is some of the throwbacks to the Disneyland TV show that Walt had on ABC as they were developing Disneyland, and of course some of the opening day footage, which so many of us Disney fans have seen before. So Walt's dedication speech, that's of course not created by Skywalker Sound. That's the original footage, probably enhanced and edited and sounds very modernized, but still it's the original audio. But everything else is all the silent footage, which makes up the vast majority of this film, was essentially all created in a studio, which I found mind-blowing. And I'm watching this, I'm like, wow, like I would have had no idea if you told me that. I wouldn't have thought about it. But they did an incredible job working with Skywalker Sound and making that happen. So I thought that was cool.
That was great. What's interesting is that they theoretically could have made it silent and then just had music and then the voiceovers over it. But I do really felt like it really immersed yourself into that era because of the sound design that was done. And it was incredible sound design. They really did a fantastic job of making you really feel like you were there.
I wish everyone could get the chance to see it in a theater. And I know that there's maybe not the demands of a Marvel film that audiences are going to turn out to see Disneyland Handcrafted in a theater, but it did enhance the immersiveness to hear the sound in a theater. So if you have a great setup at home with surround sound, or if you're lucky enough, I'm not, if you're lucky enough to have an in-home theater, cue up the surround sound, put it up on the big screen, dim the lights, grab some popcorn. It's worth watching it in an immersive way.
Absolutely. It was definitely worth it.
So, honestly, even if now that I think about it, if you want to really get the immersive sound, all you need is a really good pair of headphones and cue it up on your favorite monitor or laptop or TV screen, whatever you're going to be able to.
And pull up your favorite armchair as well.
Pull up your favorite armchair. Throwback to old
That's a throwback
podcast episodes.
for all those. Yeah.
My goodness.
That's a throwback.
I haven't said that in a long time. I almost forgot. I think I did forget how to say it. It's been so long. Yeah. So, I mean, I felt like the documentary was so well done. I really do think and maybe it's because I saw it in a theater. Maybe it's because I saw it at the Walt Disney Studios Lot. So certainly I need to think about when I watch it at home if I feel the same way. But coming out of the theater, I felt like it was Leslie's best documentary yet. And I did get the chance to, because she was there at the premiere, so I did get the chance on the way out to congratulate her. And I said, honestly, you did a great job. I thought this was your best one yet. Like it really, it's maybe not for an Imagineering fan. The Imagineering story is the gold standard because it shows so much behind the scenes footage and you're getting an inside look at how a lot of the attractions we know and love were created. But I think her storytelling and her work as a filmmaker has continued to advance, has grown a new level of sophistication. And I could tell that she has just taken everything she's learned from filmmaking throughout her career and plussed it with this documentary. It's so well done, and it takes a subject that I think some people would otherwise get bored with if you're just thinking about like it's construction footage of Disneyland. You're not. It's interesting to many. It's maybe boring to others, but I think whether or not you're a Disney fan, it doesn't matter. I think everyone is going to find this documentary fascinating. It's because of her storytelling, the way she told this story. Again, it has drama. It has, but not artificial. It has it really taps into the true drama, the true stress, the true anxiety of creating Disneyland, and the humor of building Disneyland. Like you said, some of the fun that they had, some of the goofs and the awkward moments, and it has all of that and creates a really realistic look. I wasn't there, but I assume a really realistic look at what it was like if you were standing in those orange groves watching it transform into the happiest place on earth.
I was just thinking about this. This, to me, was not a Disney documentary. This was a historical documentary.
It was. It definitely was. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you have to think about, is that it's not just, I mean, of course it's for Disney fans, but this is more than just for Disney fans. This is for anybody that's interested in history, anybody that's interested in period pieces, anybody that is interested in construction,
business,
and any business,
how you disrupt an industry,
and truly anybody who is passionate about the impossible.
Yes,
that's what this documentary is truly for.
Yeah, it was an impossible task. It was incredibly risky. It may have been as risky or more risky than Snow White. Certainly at least as risky as that. Thinking about creating a full-length feature animated film, who's going to show up for that? Up until that point, it was only shorts limited to a few minutes, and who's going to sit down and watch a cartoon for 80 minutes? And sure enough, of course, that gamble paid off and started off an entire industry. And same with Disneyland. It maybe not was the first. It was not necessarily the first theme park in the world, but it was certainly the gold standard that all theme parks since then have compared themselves to, or at least tried to achieve. And it's the blueprints, it's the DNA for every Disney park that's come since, especially every Disney Castle park. But in either case, the storytelling and the world building, that has been the foundation for every Disney park and every Disney experience, for that matter, around the world. So, I really am excited, genuinely, for this film to come back out on Disney Plus. Like, I want to sit down with Joanna and watch it, or I'll sit down by myself and watch it. And it's just, it's something that I can't wait to watch again and catch more things and just get the chance to experience again. So, so I thought it was great. Long story short, and I can't wait to see it again. And the premiere, the event that Disney put together was, I've never been to a red carpet event, but Mike, you've been to the Grammys. I'm sure you could probably attest to this or speak to it a little bit more. Like, it felt like a mini film premiere. It really did. I mean, it wasn't in Hollywood with the giant, the giant line of press reporters and flashing cameras and mega celebrities, but it really was like a miniature version of that. It was on the Walt Disney Studios lot. It even had the those rotating spotlights. Yeah. Which I thought was like, we're walking in, I'm like, oh my gosh, they have spotlights for this event. It had not a red carpet, but a blue carpet. There were reporters, set up along the way. There were some celebrities that were there, and many Disney showcased in social media after the event. But it really was an incredibly well put together event, and Disney did truly roll out the blue carpet and make us feel like VIPs and welcomed us into the back lot and catered the events and made it a real to-do. And it felt like a really great celebration of Leslie and her accomplishment and the premiere, and it just felt like this giant party to celebrate this new documentary.
It was truly a premiere. I mean, like you said, they went out on all the stops for this event, and I was amazed on how well they put everything together. But I'm also curious too, because honestly, I know we were discussing this ahead of time before we attended. I had no idea what to honestly expect from this, because even though this is a film premiere, it is a documentary, so I wasn't sure how elaborate they were going to make something like this. Even though it is about Disneyland, there was just no way to know. Did you have any thoughts or expectations going in?
I certainly expected one person to show up, and he did, and that was Bob Gurr. Because I'm thinking, how many Imagineers are left, especially living in Southern California, who worked on Disneyland? And Bob Gurr has remained active in the Disney community, so I was hopeful that he would appear. And sure enough, a little while after we arrived, I mean, we made sure we were there right on time when the event started, as early as we could get in. A little while later, there comes Bob Gurr, and he rolls in, and he walks in, I should say, and he shakes Leslie's hand, and he goes over and he gives a little mini interview that you can find on the Disney parks, or one of the Disney, or a few of the Disney social media channels. You could see him giving a little soundbite for the documentary, and he was the only person I was thinking and hopeful that would show up just because of his connection to Disneyland. But other than that, I was expecting some Imagineers. There were some Imagineers there, some names that you would recognize, and you can, again, if you head over to the Disney social media profiles, you'll see who showed up to this. But there were some other celebrities there too that I was not expecting. So Josh Gad was there, which was pretty cool. I did not go out of my way to interact with him, and I think he tried to keep a relatively low profile at the premiere. But Josh Gad showed up, and I thought it was great that like Pete Docter was there from Pixar, iconic Pixar director. Pete Docter was there, and then Jonas Rivera, who's an executive producer at Pixar since he's been there since Toy Story. He's maybe even before then. He was there. You've got. I was happy to see Brett Iwan. He's been on the show before, and I was really great. I've seen him in person at D23 events, but it was great to get to see him at a premiere event like this. Susan Egan, haven't had her on the show before, but she has been a growing part of the Disney social media presence, and they've really put her more in the spotlight in the last year or two. So it was great to see her appear.
And she was a voice of Meg on Hercules, right?
Yes, she was the voice of Meg, and she also originated Belle, Disney on Broadway.
Oh wow!
So she's done a number of things, but those are her two big claims to fame in the Disney community. Martha Blanding was there, new Disney legend. So it was really great to see her at this premiere. It was really, I'm not name dropping just to say look at the people we were mingling with, but because we really, honestly, I was not really chatting with these people much, but except to maybe say a quick little hello to folks that I've had on the show before. But it was really a big event, and it was great to see so many iconic Disney Imagineers, filmmakers, voice actors, and creators show up. And then there were a number of creators I recognized, podcasters, vloggers, social media content creators who are in the social media space and do a lot of work with Disney. And it was great to get to mingle with some of them too.
To me, what gave me a lot of joy was it felt like it was just one big happy Disney family. And it was truly amazing to see how many of them were interacting with each other. You had Imagineers interacting with the actors. You had producers interacting with the Imagineers. Everyone was just talking with each other, and that was very exciting for me. And Imagineers as well, fellow Imagineers that spanned generations, also talking to each other. Yeah, and that gave me a lot of excitement to see that. It didn't feel like too much of like, different. It didn't feel like a high school where you had like the sects of groups, the cliques and things like that, right? No, it just felt everyone was just super friendly and everyone's there having a good time. And to see people there that were not just involved in the parks, but people that were just involved in Disney as a whole, to be there on a documentary about the construction of Disneyland, it shows that people love where they work.
Yeah, they certainly do. And there were people who went out of their way to be there as well. And a good friend of the show, Haley, who's Harriet Burns' granddaughter, I have to give a shout out to her because she said she flew in. She was on vacation in Hawaii with her husband. She flew home to Los Angeles for 24 hours to attend this premiere. So she had flown in that day, and then she had a 7 a.m. flight the following morning to go back to Hawaii. And like that's commitment. It was also great to meet her mom because I've interacted with her mom, but I've never gotten the chance to meet her in person. So it's really great to meet Pam. And it was just it felt very warm. Like it felt like a great little Disney bubble community. And it was a really well put together event. Like I said, like they had a DJ there for the event, playing lots of wonderful hits. They kept the studio store open and with a discount on merchandise, so you can go, and we both went and got some discount on merchandise at the studio store. Brought some gifts home for the girls, and they catered the event, like I said, so they had some hors d'oeuvres passed out if you wanted sliders or pot stickers, which were delicious, by the way. But then they also had stands set up for Disney snacks, so you could get 3 flavors of Disney churros. You could get the standard flavor, the Oreo flavor, or the strawberry flavor. I got 2 of the 3. You could also get the Mickey pretzels. They had a stand set up for that. You could get Disney popcorn. In fact, when we headed into the documentary, they had tables full of Disneyland popcorn boxes, which I loved. I love that we got to eat Disneyland popcorn sitting in the Walt Disney Studios lot watching a Disneyland documentary. It was really such a fun little Disney moment. And they also opened up the animation building right across the way from the theater, and people could go in and tour Walt's office, which we talked about in our last podcast episode. You and I did not. Like, we were prioritizing enjoying the premiere because we were, again, fortunate enough to have the privilege of touring his office a few days before. I didn't really feel the need to go back, and I wanted to mingle. I wanted to see if I knew anybody there. I wanted to shake some hands. I wanted to offer some congratulations and to enjoy the snacks and just spend time with some friends I did have that were there and enjoy the premiere to its fullest. And we were there until literally they kicked us out, right? Like we were there until
they were literally
end.
escorting everyone out. So we got there literally about maybe 5 or 10 minutes after we were told we can go there, and then we stayed until literally we're starting to kick us out.
Yeah.
So it was a long night, but it was such a fun night. I really appreciate the fact that they did, just for context, they brought all the snacks from Disneyland up. I mean, it was legitimate Disneyland popcorn, legitimate Disneyland churros.
I taste tested just to be sure. Just to be sure, just for research purposes.
And you can confirm that was correct.
It was legitimately, yeah. These were the actual Disneyland snacks you can get at Disneyland.
I also heard too that they had Mickey Mouse bars, but I couldn't find them anywhere.
I couldn't find them either. I heard that as well. Maybe they ran out. I didn't see anybody with a Mickey bar though, so I don't know if it was hidden somewhere or if it was, this premiere was happening at the same time that there was a D23 premiere happening, concurrent events. So perhaps the D23 members got to take advantage of the Mickey premium bars and we did not, but
that's okay. I mean, honestly, like you mentioned, there was hors d'oeuvres there, but I just really love the fact that that nice little touch of that they brought up Disneyland snacks for this particular premiere I really like that a lot. And like you mentioned, the popcorn boxes, they even had aluminum water bottles, which I also appreciate the fact that they were aluminum. So they gave those out too for everyone. So they really did a great job of making everyone felt very accommodated. Throughout the entire event.
It was Disney hospitality through and through. And again, a great event, a great celebration. I don't think there's too much else to discuss. I'm gonna see if there's anything else you have, Mike, but I was really thankful and thanks again to the Disney Parks team for the invitation to attend this. It was a really incredible event, and more importantly, it was an incredible documentary, and I encourage everybody listening, if you're listening to this podcast, you are the audience for this, and you should definitely queue it up. And I think you will be surprised, even if you are a Disney history buff, if you think that you know everything there is to know about Disneyland. I challenge and I bet that there is at least one or two things in this documentary you have never heard or seen or known about before, and you will be appreciative even more so than if you know, it will grow an appreciation for Disneyland, I think, even more than you have now, which probably says a lot for a lot of people.
So I have a question for you, Matt.
Okay.
So now that you've had some time after the event to, I guess, absorb or contemplate, whatever the case might be, if you were to sum up your experience that night into one word, what would that one word be? One word?
I have to think about it. I was going to say magical, but that's so cliche.
I was going to say magical too, but yeah, let's not use magical.
Historic. That's the history of the documentary itself and the history that I felt there being on that campus, which we talked about that in our last podcast episode, but the history of being on that campus and the history of the folks that were there. Everyone from Bob Gurr to present day Imagineers and beyond Imagineering. I just felt that history. So historic would be my word. What about you? I'm going to throw that question back your way because that's such a hard question.
I knew you're going to. I do have an answer. Inspired. And I will say inspired not because of just the documentary itself, which definitely highly recommend that everyone go and see. But inspired because of the fact that we were at this event with all these people from the Disney community, people who've been around there for decades, or people that have been there only for a short period of time so far. And being there with you specifically, because you and I grew up going to Walt Disney World and to Disneyland since we were, toddlers.
I was 4 months old on my first trip. Yeah.
I think I might have been 2, but yeah. And to me, that was very special to be able to experience that with you.
Likewise.
And so I feel inspired by that whole thing because it goes back to that saying that you will usually end your episodes on, which is, if you can dream it, you can do it. And I cannot express how proud I am of you, of how long you've done this podcast for, and seeing where you are now, and can only imagine where it goes from here.
Trying to make season 10 our best season yet. So it was really great to start off the year this way. And I'm appreciative to you, Mike, for being able to join me, to everyone listening for giving me the opportunity to do this and to do this on your behalf. And of course to Disney for the invite. Those three things had to all come together. So I'm very grateful for that. So I think this is a good place to end it. Again, I just wanted to give some rough thoughts on the documentary and on the premiere itself. I encourage everybody, like Mike said, to go and check it out. But Mike, thanks for joining me for this and for the trip. And let's watch Disneyland Handcrafted next time we're together.
Yep, sounds good.
Welcome back to Imagination Central. Before you exit this episode, remember to follow Imagination Skyway on social media and share the show with anyone who might enjoy listening to our program. For ad-free episodes and bonus content, create a free account or sign up for a premium subscription at patreon.com/Imagination Skyway. When you're ready for your next vacation, remember that listeners of Imagination Skyway can get rewarded for booking a trip to Disney in 2026 through KMV Travel, voted the top travel agency in Orlando in 2025. Simply fill out the form at kmvtravel.com/Skyway and make sure that you select Imagination Skyway. under the How Did You Hear About Us question to be eligible for a special gift from the team. Terms and conditions apply. As you disembark, please remember to remain fully seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop. Then gather your belongings and watch your head and step as you exit. Thank you for joining me aboard Imagination Skyway, and remember, if we can dream it, we can do it.